You know, you would think TCM might end up giving this one up, and then out of nowhere, it's like they find a way. They find a way to win. And in those last moments, right, it's all about who has the clutch factor, who can be that player, or who could be the group of guys that could just make sure that they don't give up at those final moments. And TCM so far has proven that they are that squad. And I thought London Conspiracy, I thought they would do that, especially given that close matchup against FaZe France.
Yeah, speaking of London Conspiracy, let's start off with one of their points of view. Let's start with Fusion.
I agree. Fusion.
He's the dude to watch in this next game. He really needs to try and claw his team back into this series. They cannot afford to lose this next game. Of course, don't forget, TCM only need to win this next game to win the whole tournament without even dropping a single map, Golden Boy.
Yeah, Fusion's going to be the go-to player here for me without a doubt, but Fragby, though, is going to get picked off by a player who decides to rush out, and that was Chalky. Chalky rushed out there to challenge the London Conspiracy guys. Unfortunately for him, that did not last all that long. Now, this is going to be Lockdown King of the Hill. King of the Hill, of course, we have 5 different hills, A, B, C, D, and E, that will rotate after 60 seconds, and they will look to get as much time as they possibly can on each hill. And a beautiful shot there out of Fusion, and that's what you want to see out of the person who, at the beginning of this event, was designated as that sniper. And look at them getting that time there on A. Actually, oh, never mind. It seems like we had a box issue here, so that definitely raises, or I should say answers a lot of questions, because you don't really get that much time on A.
No, that's very true. With A, you tend to see teams try and transition over to the BR tower for that B hill. That top BR hill is where you get most of the time. So teams in Europe tend to use the A and E hills to transition over to the BR tower, get the majority of the time in B, and then use the C hill to transition over to Sniper Tower for that D hill at S1.
Yeah, did you see that transition, by the way?
Yeah.
Did you see that oval, man?
Yeah.
Dude, it's like a 70s movie, bro.
Yeah, baby.
It's like Shaft all over again.
Shaft.
I feel like when we should just do it again going into the restart here.
Can we do that?
And I'm just going to go, Chef. You're damn right. That was my jam back then.
Wow.
Sam Jackson.
You are old.
We're bros. We're bros.
You are old.
No, so I'm just cultured, bro. That's all.
That's a fancy word for old.
That's a fancy word for someone who should know these things.
Basically.
Yeah, so we just had a box issue there. We'll be sure to take care of that in a little bit, guys, get the restart going. But, yeah, I mean, obviously Fusion, again, to talk about London Conspiracy and what they need to do here. Yeah, I am going to be looking at Fusion as a player to make the plays. He's the one. Him and Fragby, right? Fragby has kind of been that guy, too, that when need be, Fragby, gets himself into a great position to be able to execute on something, right? That is what they're going to need here, because they're going to need that one guy, right? Because there will be a time where TCM is going to take control of the BR tower, and they're going to need the guy to push up and be able to make the play back ramp. Look for either Fragby or Blackjack to be that guy, while Fusion will be doing his absolute best to provide support from a long-range distance.
Yeah, speaking of Fragby, people in Europe actually call Fragby Tournament Fragby. Because
Really?
online, he just never tends to show up. He's always checking his phone. He's always, got people around, not really paying attention to the game. But as soon as Fragby comes to a tournament, he goes on a completely different
he's
level.
Mr. Popular.
He is pretty much Mr. Popular at home, but as soon as he comes to a LAN, oh, baby, he turns into a very, very different beast.
Well, you have to think, right? I mean, playing from home versus playing at a live event, for those of you guys who've never experienced it, it's night and day, right? There's the comfort of being home. There's the feeling of, like, being able to just lounge back on your chair after the end of a game, maybe fart a little bit.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
There's always that possibility,
Dude, come on.
too.
I mean, we're all human, right?
But seriously, though.
What do you mean seriously? I'll do that.
Just let off a couple squeezers, right?
Everybody lets off squeezers. Okay.
But seriously, though, like that's the thing, right? It's a different experience.
It really is,
right?
yeah.
For players who have never felt that kind of atmosphere you know, around them. So, you know, at a live event, right, you kind of just bring your A game. You know, it's all focus. And I love it, too, because, you know, you see these guys, they're talking about the game after they're out of it, right? They're still having these conversations about what they want to do, how they felt they could have done better. It's like the conversation never stops, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah, and the conversation really is this same thing that you would see online, but just in real life to the people that you've been playing with online.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of online tournaments, if you ever want to play against the likes of TCM, FaZe France, and London Conspiracy, you can do so. Go to gfinity.net, click on that Halo tab. All the information you will need. Shaft is coming, by the way.
What was that?
Shaft is coming. Shaft?
Shaft? Oh, boy.
It's coming. Yeah.
All right, well, the match is loaded up, guys, so we're going to get this one started in a little bit, and then you're going to see that Shaft transition, which is going to be just absolutely smooth like butter.
Can we just do it now?
And, you're damn right. Baby. All right, well, guys, this is it. London Conspiracy facing off against TCM. Can TCM pull off the perfect tournament, or will London Conspiracy put that one to an end and look to force this game 4? Let's go ahead and kick things off with Blackjack from the London Conspiracy side. Yeah, Blackjack here is just chilling on S2, trying to find a few of the TCM players, guys. Don't forget this A hill is mostly about transitioning over to BR tower. Don't forget that B hill is at top BR, so a lot of teams in Europe love to just use the A hill, leave it completely. They realize it's small time because it's near impossible to defend. Just use it to transition underneath, maybe over the top of the map, get over to that BR tower, get control, and get a lot of time in that B hill. Well, you know, it's interesting, right? Because at the launch Invitational, players were going after A, right? A lot of the North American guys were going after A. So it's different to see, you know, the European players just opt to ignore it completely. It's still 0-0, guys. Like, we didn't see this at all at the launch Invitational. Sure, you didn't get a lot of time on the A hill, but there were still plays being made at A hill. And Fusion, though, is going to get dropped. Blackjack gets taken out by the player with sword. That was going to be 2Foxy, who was on a run here, and he's setting up over by back BR. This should be time for TCM to be able to accrue here, because with 2Foxy holding the sword, he needs support, though. He needs someone near him to be able to help him out so he can go to the back ramp and be able to patrol with that energy sword. Yeah, the problem 2Foxy is going to have is the fact that the sniper is actually in the hands of a London Conspiracy player. Not sure who that is. I think it was Fusion who was just taken down by a TCM player, but we're on board with 2Foxy right here. He's getting uncontested points in this B hill. This is what we were talking about, Golden Boy. A lot of teams just love to control BR tower, get the majority of time out of these B and D hills. And it's funny to note as well that, you know, the spawns for London Conspiracy was happening over by bottom blue lift. So they actually were dealing with a lot of problems just getting out of there. Finally, Septic is able to make moves over into the hill and will look to get as much time as they can, but it won't matter because it is going to be moving. Still, though, BR tower is going to be so important because they have to hold this down to be able to support the C tower. Now Septic will get dropped, and that means you have 2 members of London Conspiracy spawning at the bottom, actually 3 members bottom blue lift. This is dangerous territory here because these guys are just going to jump right into grenades, and Riot has a sniper rifle for TCM. Yeah, he knows those players are trapped down at bottom lift, and he smells them. He's trying to aim at those players. There's one, takes down Fragby with a lovely headshot, finds another player top middle, can't quite clean off that headshot, but does in the end take down Blackjack. But London Conspiracy are starting to get time in this C hill. They can't seem to find that player. He's hiding behind the pillar, lines up the shot, can't quite get it. That player is still one shot on the hill. There we go, finally taken down. Assist medal for Riot, and the 14-point lead goes in favor of TCM. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a good run there for London Conspiracy to be able to get a couple of points and keep this matchup as closely as they possibly can. But Riot now has to actually get out of dodge with that sniper rifle unless he has a teammate there for support. You got one player actually going on the jump up here. He's going to get the whack there, the melee from the grave on Septic, but that will be a trade. I think the sniper did fall off of the map as well, so that means no one will get that in their hands for the time being, at least. And TCM still in the lead by a good amount here. That D hill, though, coming up, this is something big because Fusion's getting control of this with the sword means that, you know, they're going to be able to take the lead, and they might be able to build upon this one by a sizable amount, because we all know that the D hill is one of the most important hills in this map. Yeah, I hate to blow my own trumpet here, Golden Boy, but Fusion there just actually left the sword. In fact, he got killed. But I hate to blow my own trumpet, but
The majority of the time we've seen in this game is from the B and D hills, as we spoke about. Those are the two most controllable hills in the map. Wouldn't be surprised to see London Conspiracy try and get a bit of small time in this incoming E hill at bottom middle to try and claw themselves back into this game. In fact, I think it's all tied up at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, since they have been able to tie this one up, right? I mean, the pressure is on for TCM to be able to respond, but for London Conspiracy, they have a lot of work in front of them, because at the beginning of the game they gave up so much time at the BR tower. That is going to be coming up again in just 2 hills here. They can get good time here on E if they continue to play it the way that they are right now. They just need Blackjack to live in the corner. Whenever nades fly in, just get to the upper left corner as quickly as you can. But giving up that sword, though, is going to be huge, and it seems like that is going to be too foxy with it. As a player, you do not want to have the sword, but just as I switch over to him, he ends up losing that weapon. Now that means that E is going to be right for the picking. A couple of seconds left here as Riots looks to make moves in there, while his teammate is going to be on top. That will be Chalky top BR3, looking to get set up for A here.
Yeah, this is the perfect place for TCM to be. They have some small time here to be gained in the A hill at bottom middle, but the most important thing is Chalky is at BR3 and Foxy has his help. Finding Septic, making short work of him, but they are in the perfect setup right now for this next B hill rotation. They can get a sizable chunk of time and also run away with the lead potentially in this game.
Who's been rather quiet in this matchup, by the way, is this gentleman right here, Ramirez. He's kind of just playing, the objective, but he hasn't really had much in this tournament. His teammates have definitely been, and that's funny, right? Because Ramirez was a player that a lot of people were talking about at Gamescom, and he hasn't really had many opportunities, but also that's a good thing because his teammates have been, shining in those areas. Riots has been, just executing when it comes to the objective, especially in that Shrine CTF matchup. Foxy has been slaying. Chalky has been on point with his sniper. Ramirez has kind of just been filling in the gaps where it's necessary, which is something you want to see here when everyone else is clicking.
Yeah, but some great execution here from the London Conspiracy side. They actually managed to get control of the BR tower. It's only Riots from the TCM side who can do anything here, but as it stands, Septic is actually uncontested in the hill. Let's jump on board with Riots. He has sword in hand. Can't quite get the lunge off there on his old teammate Fusion, but Septic's still got a good chunk of time out of that B hill, and there's still 40 seconds left before that one moves. This game is incredibly close right now, Golden Boy.
It's the opposite of what we saw in the beginning of this game, right? I mean, you had TCM with control of it. You had Foxy at the top with the sword. No one was challenging him because they were spawning at the bottom of the blue lift. Now you're starting to see as TCM, although they are not in a position like what London Conspiracy was in earlier, still they have to be able to take as much time as they can here and come back into this as best they can. But again, the way this game is, it's a matter of seconds here. Anything is possible. And looking here with Riots, he does locate one player, ended up getting the kill on Septic with the sniper looking up top, able to get one. That will be the assist for him too. Looking around by C here, red team does have C, so that's going to be good news here for TCM as they're looking to try and just continue to pad on to this lead. They just got it back now. It's been a really close game. The start of this one seemed like TCM was on the money, seemed like they were going to be in control. Can't count out London Conspiracy by any means.
Yeah, a bit of a swap in roles there. It was in fact Riots with the snipe and Chalky doing the objective in the hill. So not exactly what we would expect when you look at this TCM team on paper, but Chalky putting some great shots there, using the angle from open ramp on that C hill. 25 seconds, excuse me, until that hill moves around to snipe tower. Would not be surprised to see either team try and control that snipe tower, and Fusion for London Conspiracy is doing just that with the Ogre 1 combo.
Yeah, well, they need Fusion to go big here because this D hill is going to be such an important part of the game. And he gets that lunge, though. The killing spree for Fusion as well. This is good for him, of course, but he has this, like you said, the Ogre combo. He has the sword and the sniper. When you go down to D, you should drop one of those and let your teammates pick that up there because you don't want to have 2 key power weapons at the bottom there by D. If that ends up being the case, they're gonna be ineffective, right? You want one of your teammates to have this. Despite all that, though, Fusion is getting a good chunk of time, and he's able to watch that long ramp too, right, over by elbow. So, again, it makes sense in theory, but I really would have liked to have seen that and given him up to another teammate, or give it up to another teammate.
I agree with you there, and it's in fact Septic now who picks up the Ogre 1 combo and still getting time for his team. It comes back to what we were saying, this D and B hills are really the key hills where they get the majority of the time. Of course, D, the most easily defensible hill of the entire map. Sword and Snipe down at S1. Not entirely sure the TCM team actually know that is there, but D is so easily defensible. All you have to do is watch back Snipe and bottom, middle, and elbow. That's only 3 positions you need to watch. It's pretty easily defensible, and you can see the amount of time that the London Conspiracy team actually picked up from that hill. It goes to show how easily defensible that really is. Yeah,
well, now E is going to be up here, Wonder, and you're right about that, right? Like, you know, it shows how D, you know, you can hold this one down with, I wouldn't say minimum issues, because, you know, obviously in Halo you just get just chuck nades into a room there, so it's always a challenge to maintain that. But compared to the other ones, it definitely does have its strong points there. E now up for the picking as TCM is looking to come back into this game 128 to 112, and they're just every second that ticks by, they're coming right back into this. And A will be the next one, so don't expect any points on that one. It's going to be the team that sets up at BR Tower for this next rotation. And also another thing, time is dwindling down as we're about to hit the 2-minute warning.
Don't forget that next B hill rotation is going to be crucial, not only because you can get a lot of time in it, because it is the last hill in the entire game. Septic sees that sword is up. Fragby calling out 3 dead. I heard him through our soundproof booth, actually. That's how loud Fragby's getting. But look at Septic. He's controlling BR Tower. He has that sword in his back pocket, and he's going to use it to great effect on potentially
gets
3
a double.
TCM players. Gets a double there with the sword, but wisely just staying down, not challenging the 3rd TCM player, but manages to take down 2 of the TCM team.
Look at the way he's maneuvering around here too, man. I mean, you know, any other player, you know, you see someone on matchmaking, they'll make the mistake of dropping down, trying to run away. Just kudos to Septic to be able to maintain that time, getting the double kill, killing spree, but again, opting not to challenge. That's what you want to see at this level of competition. You don't want to see a player recklessly make plays and, you know, think just because they have a power weapon, they think they can get away with it. Septic continuing to linger right by the library window, throwing down shots over by the top of the blue lift here. 142 to 120, 22-point lead, 1 minute and 4 seconds on the clock. This could be the end of that perfect game run that TCM was looking to build up here. You know, London Conspiracy, they want to take this, but just as I was saying, Septic pushes up on top. That's going to be a huge chunk of time that they're going to be losing on B.
Yeah, that's Ramirez from TCM, actually. He has sword in his back pocket, just gets taken down. That sword is down in the hill, and it looks like a London Conspiracy player takes that down using the stalactite, but no! Blackjack coming over the BR3 tower there, tags a player with the sword, and Riots goes to sleep, but Chalky with a double kill here. The dream is not over for TCM, but they need the majority of this time, Golden Boy.
This is going to be the make or break hill for them to be able to win this matchup, of course. But, you know, London Conspiracy, they are feeling really good right now. They have 20 points to be able to get. They can't get the time. That's going to do it. Mathematically impossible. TCM not able to get the perfect tournament. But still, though, 1 game away for them to be able to win this tournament. But still, though, you have to give credit where credit is due. London Conspiracy putting an end to that run that TCM was looking to make there. And maybe, just maybe, the momentum is shifting now in London Conspiracy's favor.
And that really is a great game type to win to get you back in a series. The long game types such as that, it's a 15-minute game. So when you win a game type such as Lockdown King of the Hill, it really goes in your favor because you've been battling hard for 15 minutes and you come away with that win. Suddenly the momentum, as you said, swings in your favor, maybe going into game number 4, which will be Warlord Assault. It might just, you know, come off for London Conspiracy here, and they may be able to force that second best of 5.
Now, if I'm correct, London Conspiracy at the European Championship played against TCM and 5-0'd them in Warlord Assault.
And guess how quick that 5-0 was?
How quick?
3 minutes. 5 bombs,
3 minutes.
3 minutes. You do the math.
So the team that people have been praising as one of the best teams in Europe, maybe the best team in Europe, gets defeated in 3 minutes in Warlord Assault. This is possibly the worst game type for TCM to have right now if they haven't put that time to figure out how to play Warlord Assault, which was something that they had noted at the European Championship. So now they are looking to get this shot to be able to shut down London Conspiracy's run right here. But London Conspiracy is going into this with tons of confidence because they know that they have what it takes to be able to shut down TCM now on Warlord Assault. Guys, the action is heating up here. Wonderboy, going into this game, I want to get your thoughts on this. You know, no predictions. You don't have to give me predictions.
Okay,
but
good.
who, because predictions suck, and
Yeah.
it always, you know, like it always puts someone on the spot.
Yeah.
And it's easier to ask the questions, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
why I do it.
Oh, good.
But
Noted. Okay.
noted. Who do you think going into this? You know, on each side, each player, you know, who do you look at, you know, to be that difference maker for each team?